Here are 50 amazing facts to blow your mind. Until 1999, the disc on the Japanese flag was shifted 1% off-center to the left. In 1985, video game publisher Firebird released Don't Buy This, a compilation of the 5 worst games ever submitted to them. Beyond mocking the developers, they also disowned their copyright to the game and encouraged buyers to pirate it. The world record for the fastest flight speed of a manned airplane was set in 1967 when the North American X-15 reached a top speed of Mach 6.72. That's over 4,500 miles per hour or 7,300 kilometers an hour. An analysis of the judges at the California State Fair wine competition, which is the oldest in North America, found that they constantly contradicted themselves. Only about 1 in 10 regularly rated the same wine in a similar manner each time. Musical satirist Tom Lehrer quit his career after Henry Kissinger was awarded the Nobel Peace Prize, saying when Kissinger won the Nobel Peace Prize, satire died. Japanese gossip YouTuber Gassi won an election but became the first parliament member to be expelled in 72 years for not showing up for work in almost a year. He campaigned from Dubai using his 1.2 million subscribers and won the election. However, he never returned to Japan. There are only 16 trademark scents in the United States, including Crayola crayons, Play-Doh, an ocean-scented indoor playground, and a weapon cleaner that smells of ammonium and kerosene. Tanya Roberts, who played a Bond girl and Donna's mom in That 70s Show, died of a urinary tract infection that advanced to sepsis and multi-organ failure. She noticed the pain when hiking one day and the next day fell out of bed and couldn't get up. The emperor penguin is a very powerful bird. In one case, a crew of 6 men trying to capture a single male penguin for a zoo collection were repeatedly tossed around and knocked over before all the men had to collectively tackle the bird, which weighs about half as much as a man. Well over 99% of the known 5 billion species that have ever lived on Earth are extinct. Both the producers and CBS felt that A Charlie Brown Christmas would fail because of its tone, pacing, music, and animation. It also lacked a laugh track, which was a staple of US TV animation. However, it received high ratings and critical acclaim when it went on to air during Christmas for 56 years. The White House was open to the public until the early 20th century. In 1829, 20,000 citizens followed President Andrew Jackson back after his inauguration. The rowdy crowd packed the White House, forcing Jackson to flee to a hotel. Aides eventually lured them out with tubs of whiskey and orange juice. Home Alone was responsible for making Kevin the #1 name in Germany in 1991. Later, the name became associated with low social status in the country, which led to the coining of the German word Kevinismus, meaning the negative preconception German people give to trendy exotic names. Media tycoon Carrie Packer once paid off a cocktail waitress's $130,000 mortgage after he accidentally bumped into her, causing her to spill her drinks. Another time, he paid off a cocktail waitress's $150,000 mortgage as a tip for good service. Around the same time George Washington's family moved to Virginia, another branch of the family moved to the Netherlands and became Bavarian nobility, the Barons von Washington. Von Washington wrote to his relatives 6 generations removed, asking to serve in the US Army but got rejected. The first spacewalk was plagued with issues, including Alexei's feet coming out of his boots, not being able to fit back inside the capsule, and landing in a forest in winter without a heater, waiting over a day for rescue. When the Henry Ford Company dissolved in 1902, Ford's financial backers called in engineer Henry M. Leland to appraise the plant for liquidation. Leland persuaded them to continue making cars at a plant using Leland's engine design and formed a new car company, Cadillac. In 1912, a man found the bones of a prehistoric missing link in the human evolutionary chain. In 1953, it was discovered that the skull was that of a medieval human with an orangutan jaw and fossilized chimpanzee teeth. The Piltdown Man became the most famous paleoanthropological hoax ever. There are no dinosaurs that lived in the ocean. The extinct aquatic reptiles are just that, extinct aquatic reptiles. Robert Carter III in 1791 through 1803 set about freeing all of his 400 to 500 slaves. He then hired them back as workers and then educated them. His family, neighbors, and government did everything to stop him, including trying to tar and feather him, and drove him from his home. 20th Century Fox released Miracle on 34th Street in 1947 in June, reasoning more people went to the movies in hot weather. As such, Christmas themes were downplayed in ads, and the trailer starred actors who weren't even in the film extolling its virtues while not mentioning the holiday setting. More Nevada residents were born in California than Nevada itself. There's something called biofouling, the accumulation of organisms such as barnacles where they are not wanted, such as on ship hulls, and causes degradation to the primary purpose of the item. Biofouling can require up to 40% more fuel to compensate for increased drag and reduced speeds. Elephants exhibit remarkable altruism. In India, an elephant refused a trainer's instruction to lower a log into a hole when it noticed a sleeping dog inside. Elephants have been observed helping injured elephants, rescuing other animals, and even assisting humans in distress. Jacques Hébert's public execution by guillotine in the French Revolution was done to amuse the crowd by the executioners rigging the blade to stop inches from his neck. They did this 3 times before finally executing him. The Nobu restaurant chain was founded by actor Robert De Niro, who spent 5 years trying to convince world-famous chef Nobu Matsuisha that they should open a restaurant together before Nobu finally agreed. In 1977, musician Jimmy Buffett was driving to Key West on the 7 Mile Bridge when the bridge got stuck in an open position, causing a 3-hour delay to fix it. To kill time, he wrote the song Margaritaville while sitting on the hood of his car. Hand sanitizer does not kill norovirus, which is the stomach flu. Washing hands is the best line of defense against this plague. Football, or soccer in North America, team manager Mikel Arteta hired professional pickpockets to steal phones and wallets from his players to teach them the importance of being ready, alert, and prepared at all times. The Church of Euthanasia is a non-profit educational foundation devoted to restoring balance between humans and the remaining species on Earth, advocating massive voluntary population reduction. The church promotes its environmental views. In 1982, an artist and her assistants grew, cared for, and harvested an entire wheat field in the middle of New York City on top of a landfill created by the construction of the World Trade Center, a piece of land worth $4.5 billion at the time. Francis Ford, the brother of movie director John Ford, was notable for appearing as Abraham Lincoln 9 times in film over just 4 years from 1912 to 1915. 6 of those appearances were in 1913 alone. Due to press interest in getting photos of the Teletubby actors in costume without their Teletubby heads on, measures were taken to secure their privacy, including blindfolding visitors coming onto the set and creating a tent for the actors to change in secret. Gavrilo Princip, the man who assassinated Archduke Franz Ferdinand, was 27 days shy of the 20-year age limit stated in the Austro-Hungarian laws for capital punishment. He was sentenced to 20 years in jail. He died later 4 months before the conclusion of World War I. The brown bear has been recorded to consume the greatest variety of foods of any bear. This is illustrated in the US as meat is made up 51% of the average diet for Yellowstone grizzlies, while it only made up 11% of the diet for grizzlies from Glacier National Park, a few hundred miles to the north. The colors of the Olympic rings were chosen because they are the 5 colors that appear in every flag in the world. The idea that caffeine makes you dehydrated is largely a myth. In 1992, a man named William Brennan, a cashier, walked out of the Stardust Casino in Vegas with $500,000 in stolen cash and chips. He and the money were never found, and he was removed from the FBI's most wanted list in 2006 when Stardust was closed. South Korea's K-Star fusion reactor maintained a temperature of 100 million degrees Celsius for 48 seconds in February of 2024. They plan on 300 seconds by 2026. During the filming of Gladiator, Oliver Reed, who played Proximo, died in a bar after challenging a group of sailors to a drinking contest. Some of his scenes had to be finished with CGI. Hindsight bias, also known as knew it all along phenomenon or creeping determinism, is a common tendency for people to perceive past events as having been more predictable than they were. John Carpenter's Halloween from 1978 was made on a $300,000 budget and grossed $70 million worldwide, making it one of the most profitable independent films ever made. Elvis Presley released 24 albums and over 100 singles, yet wrote no lyrics for any of them. On May 9th, 1969, on an episode of Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood, Rogers asked Officer Clemens, a black policeman played by Francois Clemens, if he'd like to cool his feet with Rogers in a child's pool. Clemens accepted after Rogers offered to share his towel too. Most pools at the time were still segregated. During World War II, Allied prisoners of war in Colditz Castle built a full-size glider plane in the attic. The plan was to cut a hole in the roof from the attic and then fly the plane to safety. It never flew, but it was completed shortly before the POWs were liberated. The anime streaming platform Crunchyroll was first launched as an anime pirating site and even received venture capital funding while it still allowed uploads of unlicensed content to the site. In 1956, IBM released its first hard drive called RAMAC, short for Random Access Method of Accounting and Control, which held less than 5 megabytes of storage and occupied an entire room. The RAMAC was leased for $3,200 a month, the equivalent of $28,000 in 2016. In 1990, Volvo nearly destroyed its reputation in the US with a staged ad campaign in which it claimed their cars could not be crushed by a monster truck. The Volvo had been reinforced and the other cars weakened for the stunt. George Carlin's 1972 Seven Dirty Words routine led to a 1978 Supreme Court case affirming FCC power to regulate indecent broadcasts. The poem Catullus 16, written by Gaius Valerius Catullus in ancient Rome, went unpublished for centuries and was extremely vulgar. The very first line translates to, "I will sodomize and face F you." But that's it. If you guys enjoyed this, make sure to drop a like and subscribe for more mind-blowing content coming your way very soon. Thanks for watching.